My child, have you ever noticed how someone can suddenly take over your thoughts without any warning? You aren't looking at old photos or scrolling through your messages. You aren't even feeling particularly lonely or sad. You might just be washing the dishes, driving home, or staring out the window at the rain. Yet, out of nowhere, a specific face appears in your mind. This isn't something you asked for or invited. It is a sudden, sharp presence that feels more like a visitor than a memory. You start to wonder why they are there and why it feels so heavy in your chest. You might try to brush it off as a random spark of the brain, but deep down you know it feels different. It feels like they are standing right there in the room with you, even if they are miles away. This isn't just your imagination playing tricks on you. It is something much deeper and more powerful than simple nostalgia. When a person focuses on you with intense emotion, their energy doesn't just stay locked inside their own head. We often think that our thoughts are private, but when they are charged with strong feelings like longing or regret, they create a ripple. Think of it like a stone being thrown into a still pond. The splash happens where the stone hits, but the ripples travel across the entire surface of the water until they reach the shore. You are that shore. When someone is thinking about you repeatedly and emotionally, that energy moves through the space between you. It leaves a mark. It creates a pull that your spirit can sense, even if your logical mind tries to ignore it. Tonight, you are going to learn how to recognize these powerful signs. You will begin to understand that these moments are not coincidences, but are actually spiritual signals that someone is deeply connected to your energy right now. The first major sign that you are on someone's mind is when they enter your thoughts during total silence. Most of the time, we think of people because we see something that reminds us of them. Maybe a song plays on the radio, or you pass a restaurant we used to eat together. That is a logical trigger. But the sign we are talking about happens when there is no noise and no distraction. It happens when your mind is at peace and you aren't searching for anyone. Suddenly, their voice or their face feels incredibly alive to you. It doesn't feel like a distant, dusty memory from years ago. It feels like a living, breathing connection that is happening in real time. This occurs because their intense focus has created a bridge to your mind. This bridge only becomes visible to you when you are quiet enough to notice it. If your life is too loud and busy, you might miss the signal, but in the stillness, the truth becomes clear. I want you to take a moment right now and think about this. Has someone's name been echoing in your mind lately during those quiet moments before you fall asleep or right when you wake up? If this resonates with you, please share your experience in the comments and let us know whose face appeared in your mind as you started reading this. This kind of mental intrusion is natural, even if it feels strange. It happens because when a person is struggling with unspoken love, confusion, or a desire to reach out, their energy becomes repetitive. They are replaying your name or your image over and over again in their own heart. This repetition strengthens the emotional bond between you. Even if you haven't spoken in months, you aren't thinking of them because you want to. You are thinking of them because they cannot stop thinking of you. There is a very big difference between a simple memory and a true spiritual connection. A memory is flat, and it usually fades away as soon as you focus on something else. It doesn't change how you feel physically. But a real connection is different. It shifts your mood instantly. You might feel a sudden heaviness in your heart or a strange warmth spreading through your body. You might even feel a sudden, unexplained urge to check your phone. You look at the screen, half expecting to see a notification from them, even though you have no logical reason to believe they would call. This is what we call emotional resonance. Their thoughts are electronically charged with their feelings, and your mind is picking up that signal like an antenna. Many people don't realize that the person thinking of them might be acting very distant on the outside. They might be ignoring your social media or pretending they don't care. They might be staying silent on purpose because of their pride or because they are afraid of being rejected. But silence does not mean they aren't thinking of you. In fact, the people who stay the most silent are often the ones whose minds are the loudest. Their thoughts are tangled up in guilt or fear, and that intensity is exactly why you can feel them so clearly. If they truly didn't care about you anymore, your mind would be quiet. The energy would have dried up and the connection would have faded into the background of your life. But when the thoughts keep coming back, it is because there is still a flame burning on their end. They are replaying conversations they had with you and imagining outcomes that never happened. They are wondering if you still think about them or if you have moved on completely. All of that inner conflict creates a massive amount of emotional energy. It has to go somewhere, so it travels toward you. It arrives in your quiet moments as a soft reminder that you are still a major part of someone else's internal world. You are not just a person in their past, you are a living presence in their present. As you move through your day, start paying closer attention to these shifts. Don't look for them with your logic, but feel for them with your heart. When you are doing something ordinary, like making coffee or walking to your car, notice who pops into your head. If it's the same person over and over again, and it brings a specific emotion with it, you are experiencing the first sign. Their energy is reaching out to find yours. It is a beautiful and sometimes haunting realization that we are never truly alone in our thoughts. We are all connected by these invisible threads of energy that vibrate whenever someone we love, or someone who loves us, focuses their intent in our direction. My child, the second major sign that someone is thinking about you intensely is even stronger and more personal than just having them pop into your mind. It happens when you experience sudden emotional shifts that do not seem to have a logical cause. One moment you might be feeling perfectly fine, perhaps even happy or calm, and then the next moment your mood changes completely. You might feel a sudden wave of sadness, a sense of restlessness, or a strange feeling of being soft and vulnerable. The most confusing part is that these emotions often do not belong to you. You weren't thinking about anything sad, and nothing bad happened in your day, yet you feel a heavy weight in your chest. This phenomenon is known as emotional bleed-through. It happens because when someone thinks about you constantly, especially with feelings that were never fully resolved, their emotional state becomes very unstable. They might be sitting in their own home replaying old conversations you had, or imagining different outcomes for the relationship. They might be feeling deep regret for things they didn't say, or wondering if you still care about them at all. Because these emotions are so intense and focused on you, they cannot stay contained within that person. They leak out and travel through the connection you share, and you feel them as if they were your own. If you have ever felt a sudden random wave of longing or sadness that didn't make sense to you, please share that moment in the comments and tell us how you knew the emotion didn't belong to you. You might notice that these emotions feel very familiar to you. They don't just feel like generic sadness or general anxiety. They remind you of that specific person's energy. It feels specific and personal because your energies have crossed at a very deep and meaningful point. This isn't a physical meeting, but an emotional one that doesn't just vanish because you are no longer speaking. The strongest signals usually come from what we call unfinished emotional stories. These are the connections where things were left unsaid, where feelings were never fully expressed, or where the timing just never seemed to align. The person who is thinking about you is often stuck in a place of deep inner conflict. They are likely caught between a desire to reach out to you and a paralyzing fear of being rejected. They might be missing you terribly while also trying to protect themselves from getting hurt again. This constant push and pull inside of them creates a massive amount of intense emotional energy. Your heart is like a sensitive instrument that notices this vibration. It isn't just nostalgia or looking back, it is your heart reacting to the pressure of their current feelings. When this happens, you might feel an unexplained warmth or a random desire to hear from them. It can feel like an emotional heaviness that follows you around throughout the day. You're essentially picking up on their signal because their thoughts are so highly charged with emotion. Even if they are acting distant or pretending to be okay on the outside, their internal reality is leaking through to you. They are feeling the weight of your absence, and because you were once so close, you are the first one to feel the ripple effect of their realization. This emotional bleed-through is a sign of how deeply you have impacted someone else's life. It shows that your connection wasn't just superficial, it was something that changed them. Whether they ever find the courage to speak to you or choose to stay silent forever, their thoughts have already reached you. Energy does not lie, and it does not travel across distances without a reason. If you are feeling these shifts now, it is because there is a purpose behind the timing. Your awareness of these feelings is the first step toward understanding what this connection is still trying to teach you. When someone is stuck in this cycle of thinking about you, they are often questioning the choices they made. They might be realizing your true value only now that there is distance between you. Distance has a way of clearing the mind and making the heart feel the weight of what it has lost when you are no longer easily accessible to them. Their mind fills that empty space with thoughts of you. They wonder what you are doing, who you are with, and if you ever think of them too. This mental activity creates a pull that reaches out to you only when you are open to it. It is important to remember that these signs are meant to give you awareness, not to demand that you take immediate action. You don't need to rush out and call them or try to force a conversation. The energy is revealing itself naturally, and you should let it happen at its own pace. If a reunion or a conversation is meant to happen, it will occur when the emotional tension reaches its peak. For now, your job is simply to stay grounded and honest with yourself about what you are feeling. Ask ourself, if you are holding on to the past, or if you are simply becoming aware of a connection that still exists. Sometimes the purpose of these signs is to lead you toward a reunion, but other times they are there to help you find closure or personal growth. Awareness always comes before clarity. By recognizing these emotional shifts for what they are, you are gaining a deeper understanding of the invisible ties that bind us to one another. You are learning that even in silence, we are constantly communicating through the energy of our thoughts and feelings. My child, you might be asking yourself why these signs are appearing in your life right now of all times. It is rarely a matter of random timing when you start to feel the heavy pull of someone else's thoughts. Most of the time, this happens because the person on the other end has reached a significant emotional turning point. They are likely in a space where they are questioning the choices they made in the past and are finally feeling the true weight of your absence. For a long time, they may have been able to distract themselves with work, other people, or the busyness of daily life. But eventually, that noise fades away, and the silence forces them to realize your value. It is a strange truth of human nature that distance often acts as a trigger for awareness. When you are no longer easily accessible to someone, when they can't just pick up the phone and hear your voice or see your face whenever they want, their mind begins to fill that empty space with thoughts of you. This is why you might feel their energy most strongly when you have finally started to move on or when you have found your own peace. The moment you stop chasing them or making yourself available, the balance of energy shifts. They begin to feel the gap you left behind, and that realization creates a powerful mental and spiritual focus directed right at you. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you noticed that these sudden feelings of someone's presence usually happen when you are finally feeling strong and independent? If you have experienced a time where someone seemed to pop back into your energy just as you were moving forward, please leave a comment and share how that timing felt for you. We often mistake silence for an absence of care, but that is rarely the case. In fact, the people who think about you the most are often the ones who stay the quietest. Their silence isn't a sign that they have forgotten you, it is often a shield. Their thoughts are tangled up in complicated emotions like pride, fear of rejection, or even guilt over how things ended. They might want to reach out, but they are stuck replaying the past and wondering if it's too late. This inner conflict creates a massive amount of emotional energy that has no place to go, so it leaks out and reaches you instead. The strongest signals you will ever receive come from what we call unfinished emotional stories. These are the relationships where things were left hanging in the air, where words were swallowed instead of spoken, and where the timing never quite aligned. When a connection feels unfinished, the mind has a very hard time letting it go. The person thinking of you is likely caught in a loop, imagining what could have happened if things were different. They are replaying your last conversation or imagining a future where you are still there. This repetitive focus strengthens the bond between your spirits, making it feel like they are right there next to you. You are picking up on this because energy is never truly stagnant, it is always moving. When someone focuses on you with regret or longing, they are essentially sending out a signal. Your heart and your mind are like receivers that pick up on that specific frequency. This is why it feels so personal and specific to them. It doesn't feel like a general sense of being loved, it feels like their love, their regret, or their specific way of missing you. You recognize the flavor of their energy because it is a connection that has already been established deep within your soul. It is also important to understand that this person might be pretending to be perfectly fine on the outside. They might be posting happy photos or acting like they have moved on entirely. But what people show the world is rarely the full truth of their internal world. Behind that mask of distance, their mind is likely a storm of thoughts centered around you. If they truly didn't care, your mind would be quiet. There would be no random memories, no sudden heart flutters, and no unexplained shifts in your mood. The very fact that you are feeling these things is proof that the connection is still alive and active on their end. When someone is stuck between wanting to reach out and fearing what might happen if they do, they create a specific kind of spiritual tension. This tension is what causes those pokes in your consciousness. It is like an invisible thread being pulled from the other side. You feel the tug, even if you can't see who is pulling it. They are realizing, perhaps for the first time, that the space you occupied in their life cannot be easily filled by anyone else. This realization is often painful, and that pain is what gives the energy enough strength to travel across the distance to find you. You must remember that you are sensitive to this for a reason. You aren't just imagining these things because you are lonely or bored. You are feeling them because your emotional and spiritual boundaries are open to this person. This openness allows their repetitive thoughts to enter your space during those quiet moments when you are most vulnerable. It is a natural process of emotional resonance. Their charged thoughts find a home in your mind because you both still share a meaningful point of connection that hasn't yet been fully dissolved. As this energy continues to reach you, it is vital to stay grounded in your own reality. It is easy to get swept up in the feeling of being missed and to start overanalyzing every little thing. But the most important thing you can do is recognize that these signs are informational. They are telling you about the state of the connection, but they are not necessarily a command for you to do anything. The energy is showing you a truth about how the other person feels, even if they aren't ready to say it out loud yet. By understanding this, you can move through your day with a sense of clarity instead of confusion. You can acknowledge the feeling, recognize who it is coming from, and then decide how you want to hold that information in your heart. You are becoming aware of the invisible language of energy that exists between people who have shared a deep bond. It is a language of silence, feeling, and sudden realizations that speaks much louder than words ever could. My child, it is very important to understand that if you are noticing these signs right now, it is not a coincidence or a matter of random timing. These things happen during specific windows of time when the emotional energy between two people is at its highest point. Usually, this means the person who is thinking about you has reached a personal turning point in their own life. They might be questioning the choices they made in the past, or finally feeling the true weight of your absence. For a long time, they might have been able to ignore the connection, but distance has a way of triggering a new kind of awareness. When you are no longer easily accessible to them, their mind naturally rushes to fill that empty space with thoughts, memories, and questions about where you are and what you are doing. This realization often comes when someone is feeling the most vulnerable. They start to see your value in a way they didn't before, simply because you aren't there to provide that comfort or stability anymore. This awareness is what creates the pull you are feeling. It is their internal realization vibrating across the connection you still share. It is a powerful moment of emotional honesty for them, even if they aren't ready to admit it to you directly yet. They are realizing that your presence in their life was more significant than they originally thought. When you feel this energy, your first instinct might be to react or reach out. But there is a very specific way you should handle this. You should not panic, and you should definitely not start overthinking every little detail. It is very easy to spiral into a place where you are trying to solve a puzzle that isn't yours to solve. You might feel like you need to chase after answers or demand to know what they are thinking, but you must resist that urge. These signs are purely informational. They are not a set of instructions. They are simply showing you what is happening in the world of energy and emotion. They are not demanding that you take any action at all. Have you ever felt a sudden urge to call someone out of the blue, only to realize later that you were just picking up on their longing for you? If you've had a moment where you had to stop yourself from reaching out just to see if they were okay, please share that story in the comments so others can learn from your experience. The best thing you can do when you feel this intense connection is to let the energy reveal itself naturally. If communication is supposed to happen between the two of you, it will happen on its own when the emotional tension reaches its peak. You do not need to force a conversation or try to make something happen before it is ready. Instead, you should focus on staying as grounded and calm as possible. Keep yourself rooted in your own life and your own peace. This is a time to be emotionally honest with yourself rather than focusing entirely on the other person. Take a moment to ask yourself some very quiet and honest questions. Ask yourself what this connection is trying to teach you right now. Are you holding on to this person because you truly want them in your life, or are you simply becoming aware of their energy? Sometimes the purpose of these signs is to lead you toward a reunion, but other times the purpose is simply to provide closure or to help you grow as an individual. You might be picking up on their regret so that you can finally forgive them and let go, rather than as a sign that you should go back to them. Awareness always comes before clarity. You are in the awareness phase right now, and that is okay. You don't need to have all the answers today. By recognizing that these feelings are a result of someone else's intense focus, you can separate your own emotions from the ones you are picking up from them. This allows you to stay strong and centered. You can acknowledge the signal, feel the warmth or the heaviness it brings, and then let it pass through you like a breeze. You are a witness to this energy, not a prisoner of it. Staying grounded means that you don't let someone else's confusion or regret dictate your own happiness. If they are stuck in a cycle of thinking about you, that is their journey to walk. Your journey is to stay true to yourself and to learn from the experience. Whether this leads to a new beginning or a final ending, the awareness you are gaining right now is a gift. It is teaching you about the depth of your own spirit and the power of the connections you form with others. Keep your heart open, but keep your feet firmly on the ground as you wait for the clarity that always follows awareness. As we reach the conclusion of this journey together, there is one final, quiet truth you need to hold close to your heart. If you have been following these words and you felt a sudden, soft heaviness settle in your chest, do not ignore it. If a specific face appeared in your mind the moment we began, or if you noticed your heart rate slow down and your breathing become deeper, take that as a confirmation. These physical reactions are not random occurrences. They are your body's way of acknowledging a spiritual truth that your mind might still be trying to process. Yes, someone is thinking about you right now, and they are not doing so lightly or briefly. This person is focused on you in a way that is actually changing them from the inside out. When someone reaches this level of emotional intensity, it isn't just a passing whim or a moment of boredom. It is a deep, soul-level reflection that forces them to look at themselves and the connection they share with you. They are sitting with the weight of what was lost or what was never said, and that process is transformative. Whether they ever find the strength to pick up the phone, or if they choose to remain in their silence, the reality remains the same. Their thoughts have already reached you. I want to pause here and ask you to look inward for a second. If your heart slowed down or a specific person's face became clear while you were listening to this, please leave a comment below and just type, "I feel it," to acknowledge that connection. It is a common mistake to believe that communication only happens through words, texts, or physical presence. We live in a world that prioritizes what we can see and hear, but the most profound movements often happen in the unseen spaces. Energy is the most honest form of communication we have, and energy simply does not lie. It carries the truth of a person's intent and the depth of their feelings across any distance, bypassing the barriers of pride or fear that keep people apart. You are picking up on this signal because it is real, and because the connection you share still has a pulse. You must understand that emotion does not travel through the universe without a specific purpose or a reason. Just as the person thinking of you is being changed by their thoughts, you are being reached by this energy for a reason as well. This message did not find you by accident. It arrived at this exact moment because you were ready to hear it and because you needed the validation that your intuition has been right all along. You aren't imagining the pull, and you aren't making up the feeling of being watched over by someone else's mind. When someone is stuck in a cycle of thinking about you, they are often in a state of realization. They are seeing the value of what you brought into their life, perhaps for the first time with total clarity. This realization creates a surge of energy that is directed straight toward your heart. Even if they are acting distant or pretending they have mo. Vedon. Their spiritual energy is reaching out to yours, looking for a place to land. This is why you feel that sudden warmth or that unexplained sadness. It is the weight of their unspoken truth finding its way to you. As you move forward from this moment, carry this awareness with you as a source of strength. You don't need to do anything with this information other than let it settle within you. You don't need to seek them out or demand an explanation. The energy itself is the explanation. It tells you that you are valued, that you are remembered, and that your presence in this world has a deep and lasting impact on others. You are a person who stays in the minds of others because of the light you carry. Allow yourself to be at peace with the silence. Know that even in the quietest moments, there is a conversation happening between your soul and theirs. This connection is part of your growth and part of your story. Whether it leads back to a physical reunion or simply stays as a beautiful, haunting memory, it has served its purpose by bringing you to this state of awareness. You are more connected to the people around you than you might ever realize, and that connection is a sacred thing. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and for being open to these spiritual truths. We truly appreciate your support and your presence in this community. If you found value in these words and they resonated with your journey, please don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to our channel for more insights. Your engagement helps us continue to share these messages of connection and growth. Stay grounded, stay observant, and remember that the energy of the heart always finds its way home.